Video lecturer, we're going to understand about ARM processor architecture. So in this architecture, we're going to understand what is inside this, what is there inside in this ARM processor. Okay, so let us start with the architecture. So yeah, so guys, this is your architecture of your ARM processor, and we can see here what are the things available on the screen. Okay, guys, here you can see the first basic fundamental thing we should understand ALU. So this ALU is of 32-bit. So 32-bit ALU will be available in your ARM processor. That is first important thing we should understand. And second thing, in our processor we have registers. So we have totally 16 registers. I'll be explaining in the upcoming slide about the register part. And we have a barrel shifter. So what is the functionality of barrel shifter, that also I'm going to explain in the upcoming slides. And we have multiplier unit. So this is used to multiply two variables. This is going to be 32 into 8 multiplier it is. So this is also called as MAC. MAC stands for multiply and accumulate. That also we're going to understand. We have instruction decoder here. So this instruction decoder we are going to use decode the opcode from the memory. We have a data bus here. So what you are seeing, this is called as a data bus. So this is again a 32-bit data bus it is. So this is your 32-bit data bus. Okay, and here in the bottom you can see we have address bus also. So address bus is also, which is of 32-bit. So in our processor, and we have address increment. We have address register. So this address register always it is going to point to the address of the memory location. So if you want to read the data or if you want to write the data into the memory location, address will be pointed by address register. That address register is connected to the address bus. This address register is also 32-bit, and this 32-bit register is connected to the address bus. Address bus is going to carry the address. Data bus will carry the data. Data bus is a bidirectional bus, and address bus is a unidirectional bus. And apart from this, in the architecture we have incrementer. This is also called as address incrementer. So when you are operating in the ARM mode, so it is going to be increment every time plus 4. So 8 bits into 4. So every time it is going to increment 4 byte of memory location by the incrementer. So if you are operating in the ARM mode, and if you are operating in the thumb mode, it is going to be operated, or it's going to be incremented every time by 2 in the thumb mode. So it is going to be in thumb mode, and we have so when your ARM is when your processor is operating on the ARM mode, it's going to be incremented by 4. So that we should understand here. And instruction decoder, I told you already what is the role of instruction decoder. Instruction decoder is used to decode the fetched opcode. So it is going to decode the opcode. Decoder circuit is going to decode the opcode, which is fetched from the memory. Okay, and signed extension. The signed extension is used to extend the data based on the sign of a number. So MAC stands for multiply and accumulate. MAC stands for multiply and accumulate. Multiply and accumulate. So this is a short form of multiply and accumulate. In the form of MAC we're going to call. So MAC is going to be like this. Here we can see 3 operands. So A is a 1 operand here, and you can see here this is my 1 operand A. So A is a 1 multiplier, and B is a multiplicand, and we are also giving one more variable called as ACC. ACC stands for accumulator. So what do you mean by this, sir? So I'm going to show you in a simple example. Accumulator is equal to accumulator plus A star B. So this is the functionality of your MAC unit. So MAC unit multiply and accumulate. Accumulator is equal to accumulate plus A star B. So this is the functionality of your MAC unit. I can directly say that it's a multiplier. It's a simple multiplier. it's going to multiply two variables and store it in the variable called as accumulator. Okay, so this is your Mac unit. So about the barrel shifter, next thing what we are seeing on the screen is a barrel shifter. So about the barrel shifter, I'll explain in the next coming slide. And we have address bus, 32-bit address bus and 32-bit data bus. So both are multiplexed together. So that also I'm going to explain in the upcoming slide. And we have signed extension. Just now I have explained already signed extension. So signed extension, it is used to pad the number of zeros or number of ones based on the sign of a number. It's called a signed extension, and we have an instruction decode. So this is going to decode the opcode information. Okay, so now we will go to the next slide. So we have some more information about architecture that also we'll discuss. Yeah, and this diagram gives a little more clarity on the architecture. Okay, so guys, I want to explain here something about address bus and data bus. So in the address bus, I told you address bus is of 32-bit. Address bus is of 32-bit, and it is controlled using two informations. So I want to, yeah, address bus is 32-bit and data bus is also 32-bit. Is also 32-bit. So both are multiplexed together. So I just wanted to tell small information about a multiplexer. So both are multiplexed together, and so let us assume this is my data bus and this is my address bus. So this is my address bus and this is my data bus. So both are multiplexed and only one will be available at a time. So this is selected using, we have one important control bit that is called as ALE. ALE stands for address latch enable. Okay, if ALE is equal to 0, so data bus will be selected. If ALE is equal to 1, so address bus will be selected. What do you mean by ALE, sir? ALE stands for address latch enable. Address latch enable is used to enable address bus, or it is used to enable the data bus. Whenever ALE is equal to 0, data bus will be selected, and whenever ALE is equal to 1, address bus will be selected. Okay, so here you can see we have ALE. So this is the signal, or this is the control signal where you're going to enable whether you want address bus or data bus. Both are multiplexed together, 32-bit, 32-bit, both are multiplexed. Only one bus will be available at a time. So that is all about your address bus and data bus. And one more small thing I want to tell. Something is there called as ABE. So ABE stands for, address bus enable. ABE stands for address bus enable. So it is used to enable the address bus. Okay, and similarly for data bus we have DBE. So in the data bus we have DBE. Data bus DBE stands for data bus enable. Okay, by using these control signals, we are going to read the data, we are going to write the data, and we are going to transfer the data from processor to memory and memory to processor. Okay, apart from that, we have some more informations that I wanted to tell here. Those are all called as enable EN, IN, and EN out. So this is these two things. EN out stands for output enable. It is used to send the data from processor to other device. EN out stands for output enable, and EN in stands for input enable. If you want to read the data, you need to make EN in is equal to 1, and if you want to send the data, EN out you should make 1. Okay. So apart from this, in our architecture, in our ARM architecture, we can see here the instruction decoder and pipelining. So we have already studied in the first introduction slide. So pipelining follows 3 stages. One is called as a fetch, and second one is called as a decode. Okay, and third one is called as execute. So these 3 things we are going to perform parallelly. We are going to execute fetch, decode, execute, fetch, decode, execute, fetch, decode, execute. We are going to execute all 3 things in the parallel manner. This concept is called as a pipelining. ARM processor follows three-stage pipelining. These three stages are fetch, decode, and execute. Okay, so this is the overall information about the architecture, guys. Now I'm going to take you to the register part. So let us explore little more information on the register part. Yes. So guys, in our ARM processor, we have totally 32-bit register and one status register. So I wanted to mention here. So there are totally 16 32-bit registers, 16 registers, okay, and one status register. Both are 32-bit. All 16 registers what we are seeing, all 16 registers are 32-bit. Even one status register is also 32-bit. So named like this, R0 to R15. So we have named these register as R0 to R15. There are totally 16 and one status register. This status register is called as CPSR. What is CPSR? CPSR stands for current program status register. In detail, I'll explain you in the next slide. So now coming to the registers here, guys. Here I can use directly from R0 to R12 as a GPRs. Okay. So one more point I want to tell here. R0 to R12 I can use. We can use as a general purpose. So I can use, or we can use R0 to R12 registers as a general purpose, but R13 I can't use R13 because R13 is assigned with function called as a stack pointer. R13 is assigned the function of a stack pointer. You know already in the programming things. If we want to jump to one program to other program or one function to other program, other function, so I require a return address. I need to store some information in the stack. So for in order to point top of the stack, I'm going to use R13. R13 I can directly say that stack pointer I'm going to use R13, and R14 is used as a link register. So this link register, what is the functionality of a link register? Sir, link register stores a return address. Stores a return address. Link address will be storing a return address when you jump from one program to other program, or when you jump to one part of the program to other part of the program. So when you want to return back, you require return address. That return address, it is stored in the link register. Okay, and finally R15. R15 is used as a program counter. Already in the previous slide I have explained you, program counter is a register which is going to point to the next instruction to be executed. So it's a counter, it always points to the execution of the next instruction. Okay, so like that R15 is reserved with a program counter functionality. So these are all the registers associated with the ARM processor. Okay, so now I'll take you to the current program status register. Yeah, so guys, you can see here again CPSR. In the previous slide I told you we have a status register. So what is the name of the status register, sir? In short form we will call it as CPSR. In short form we will call it as a CPSR, but full form it is called as current program status register. It's called as current program status register. So in negative flag, whenever you're getting a negative result, N flag will set. So this is the first important thing we should know here. Second one is called as zero flag. Z stands for 0. So whenever you're getting a result with a 0 answer, then 0 flag will set. The third one is called as C flag. C flag stands for carry flag. So carry flag, whenever there is a carry generated from MSB, or whenever there is a borrow in the subtraction, the carry flag will set. And whenever you are performing the operation with a overflowing the result, or whenever you are getting a result with a more than specified range, then V bit will set. V stands for overflow. So first one is negative, second one is a 0, third one is a carry, and V stands for overflow. These are all the 4 flags you can see in the ARM status register. So apart from these conditional flags, second information also we have here. This is called as control bits. So in the control bits, here you can see this is called T bit. T bit stands for thumb mode. Whether you are going for thumb operation or whether you are going for thumb or arm mode. So there are 2 modes are there. Whether do you want to go for thumb mode or arm mode. So this is going to be decided by bit number 5. Bit number 5 tells you thumb mode or arm mode. And then bit number 6. So bit number 6 tells you whether you want to go for FIQ mode, interrupt or not. If you want to go for fast interrupt or with a high priority interrupt, you need to enable bit number 6. Bit number 6 is called as F bit. F bit stands for FIQ. FIQ stands for fast interrupt request, or also you can say that high priority interrupt. And similarly, if you want to enable a normal interrupt, so here you can say moderate interrupt priority. If you want to enable interrupt priority with a moderate priority, then you can go with a bit number 7. So bit number 7 tells you about interrupt with a normal priority. So bit number 5 for thumb, bit number 6 for FIQ with a higher priority, interrupt with a higher priority. Bit number 7 tells you interrupt with a normal priority. Okay, and remaining 5 bits, what you are seeing, these 5 bits are reserved for modes. So guys, already I told you, so ARM is going to be operated in a 7 different mode. ARM processor operates in 7 different modes. So what are the 7 different modes are and how to identify this bit pattern? So we have to load in a mode field in order to switch from one mode to other mode. So this is CPSR register. I hope this is clear to all. So now we will move to the one more circuit which is available in the ARM processor. So one more part or one more small circuit which is available in the processor, ARM processor, is a barrel shifter. Sir, what is the advantage with the barrel shifter? What is this barrel shifter? So guys, barrel shifter is used to rotate the data, or it is used to shift the data from the operand. Barrel shifter exclusively designed to shift operation. First you shift operation, right shift or left shift, arithmetic shift or logical shift. So if you compare the same thing with other processors, the ALU is going to take care about for the shift operations, whereas ARM processor we have separate barrel shifter which is going to take care about your shift operations. Okay. So here you can see the ARM arithmetic logical unit has 32-bit barrel shifter, so which is capable of shifting and rotating the data. So along with ALU, we have separate circuit. And in the instruction, second operand. So the second operand of the instruction specifies the number of bits to be shifted or to be rotated. Okay. So here one example I'm considering LSR. So LSR stands for logically shift right. So logically shift right R5 contained by 4 position. So I'm considering some data here. So this is my given data in one of the register, that is my R5 register. I'm shifting by right 4 positions. So 4 bits